At Hoover Dam, a visitor tips a bottle and a bright stream of water rises beside the concrete wall instead of falling toward the river below. The dam's curved face redirects wind upward, catching droplets and briefly overpowering their downward path through a powerful man-made canyon of concrete, steel, heat, and air. People laugh, then repeat the experiment, because watching water climb feels like discovering a mistake inside the rules that organize every ordinary day of life. Gravity has not failed here, but something equally unsettling has happened. Our instincts have mistaken an invisible force for an impossible event. Across the world, certain roads, valleys, and dry lakes create that same pause between what eyes report and what the physical world actually does. At first, these places seem designed to embarrass science, inviting visitors to test cars, bottles, balls, compasses, and their own carefully trusted sense of balance. Then measurements arrive with levels, maps, cameras, weather records, and patient observations, revealing that nature often hides its mechanisms in plain view. The explanations are usually ordinary, but the experiences are not, because knowledge does not immediately repair the feeling that the landscape has turned against you. In Lake Wales, Florida, a white line marks the beginning of Spook Hill, where drivers stop, shift into neutral, and wait. Their cars appear to roll uphill, climbing toward the crest while passengers point at the windshield and search for a hidden engine somewhere beneath them. Local legend says a Native American chief fought a giant alligator here, and the defeated creature still pushes vehicles uphill from underground. The story survives because the road delivers exactly the kind of evidence people want, a silent car moving where a silent car should not. Surveying tools tell another story, showing the road actually slopes downward, while trees, distant ground, and an obscured horizon persuade drivers otherwise completely. The National Park Service describes such sites as gravity hills, places where a downhill grade appears to rise because visual reference points become unreliable. Your inner ear senses motion, your eyes judge the land, and when they disagree, the landscape wins before logic can catch up. The car is obeying gravity perfectly, yet every passenger experiences the event as a small betrayal by the world beneath their wheels. Far from Florida, Electric Brae runs along Scotland's Ayrshire coast, where cars seem to coast uphill as Atlantic wind moves across open grassland. 19th century travelers gave the slope its electrical name, imagining a strange force pulling horses, carts, and later automobiles along the road. There is no hidden current beneath the asphalt, only a difficult horizon shaped by hills, sea, road geometry, and a landscape viewed from below. Drivers know they are participating in an illusion, but many still step outside, walk the slope, and discover that their legs disagree too. That bodily confusion matters, because these places do not merely fool a photograph, they challenge the systems humans use to navigate safely through space. In Ladakh, northern India, Magnetic Hill attracts travelers who release their brakes and watch vehicles appear to climb through a stark mountain valley. Tourism signs call it magnetic, while guides repeat stories of unusual forces, and visitors record the slow movement against a backdrop of bare brown peaks. Scientists generally describe the effect as another gravity hill, where surrounding slopes create a false horizon and make downhill motion seem like ascent. The local label is not simply ignorance, it has become part of the place, mixing regional storytelling, tourism, curiosity, and a genuine visual puzzle.
Wow, it looks even better on
People
screen.
arrive seeking a miracle, then leave with a demonstration of perception, which may be more personally disturbing than any magnetic explanation. A magnet can be tested, but the limits of human vision follow visitors home, onto familiar streets, staircases, airports, and everyday decisions. California offers a different lesson, inside the mystery spot near Santa Cruz, where walls tilt, balls roll sideways, and bodies appear to change height. The attraction opened in 1940, turning a slanted cabin into a controlled experiment in how quickly the brain accepts a misleading room. Visitors brace their hands against wooden beams, hear floorboards creak, and watch water run across surfaces that seem completely level to them. Nothing inside has suspended gravity. Instead, architecture removes the normal vertical cues that tell muscles, eyes, and minds which direction counts as upright. The effect is funny until it becomes intimate, because balance is not an abstract calculation, but a constant silent promise made by the body. When that promise breaks, even for minutes, adults reach for railings and children grin at the possibility that grown-ups are confused too. Not every apparent violation comes from perception, and some mysteries remained open for decades because no one had witnessed the crucial moment directly. At Racetrack Playa in Death Valley, rocks leave long tracks across a dry lake bed, although no person sees them move in daylight. Some stones weigh hundreds of kilograms, and their trails stretch hundreds of meters across cracked mud beneath an unforgiving desert sun. For years, explanations included strong wind, earthquakes, pranksters, and ideas far less scientific, because the evidence was visible, but the motion was absent. In 2014, researchers Richard and James Norris documented the process using cameras, weather instruments, and careful observation during rare winter conditions. A shallow layer of water freezes overnight. Then morning sun breaks the ice into thin, moving panels spread across the playa. Light wind pushes those panels, and the panels slowly nudge rocks over slick mud, leaving marks that can remain visible for years. The movement is quiet and gradual, not violent, which made the answer difficult to find, and strangely moving once finally understood. Nature did not need to break physics. It only needed water, ice, wind, mud, time, and a desert cold enough to cooperate. At Hoover Dam, the reverse water display offers the opposite kind of mystery, visible immediately to anyone holding a bottle above the canyon. Completed in 1935, the dam rises 221 meters above the Colorado River, creating a vast surface that shapes wind in unexpected ways. When air strikes the curved concrete wall, it can sweep upward fast enough to carry fine droplets against gravity for several seconds. The mist touches visitors' faces, like cool dust in desert heat, while the river far below continues moving exactly where gravity sends it. Engineers built Hoover Dam for flood control, water storage, and electricity, not for a roadside experiment that makes physics look negotiable. Yet the demonstration shows an important truth. Gravity is always working, but it is never working alone, among wind, friction, pressure, and terrain. These locations become famous because they expose a gap between the physical world and the quick mental model people build from daily experience. That gap has produced legends, tourist businesses, arguments, and patient investigations, each response revealing something about how humans handle uncertainty. Some visitors prefer the ghost story, some want the measurement, and many want both, because explanation and wonder are not natural enemies. Scientists do not arrive to erase amazement. They arrive with questions, tools, and the humility to watch long enough for patterns emerge. The U.S. Geological Survey maps slopes, meteorologists track wind, and researchers return repeatedly, because a single dramatic moment rarely explains a phenomenon completely. Their work often replaces one mystery with a deeper one. Why did human senses evolve to trust cues that these landscapes exploit? The answer lies partly in survival, because people usually navigate ordinary terrain, where horizons, trees, buildings, and muscles agree about direction without dispute. Gravity hills are unusual, precisely because they arrange familiar clues into an unusual pattern, making a gentle descent look like a determined climb. Racetrack Playa is unusual because several rare conditions must overlap, allowing heavy stone to travel through a quiet landscape without witnesses. Hoover Dam is unusual because human engineering built a structure large enough to reshape air currents and turn falling water into rising mist. None of this makes the world less strange. It makes strangeness more accessible, hidden inside mechanisms that reward careful looking rather than quick belief. The next time a road feels wrong, stop safely, examine the horizon, and remember that certainty begins with senses capable of being fooled. Then consider the larger question these places leave behind. If the ground can mislead us so easily, what else do we mistake?